Nagin gets 10 years, according to Jarvis DeBerry. 120 months, says Catherine Sayer. 120 months. So that's what you have it. 10 years, I said 15. But apparently, because of his strong family ties and that he's not a risk to uh, the city, it seems like he's gotten a lenient 10-year period of time. So that's what it is at this point in time, 10 years.
Based on all of the commentary from the so-called experts as to what may happen today, certainly Ray Nagin dodged a big bullet. Not that 10 years in federal prison is not a long time, because it certainly is, but he can certainly expect to see a life after prison following this 10-year sentence. So Ray Nagin made out well today, considering the situation that he was in.
So, okay, so I mean, what happened? I mean, from what I could gather, just from just the tweets that I was reading, that the judge was looking at his being a good family man, and that he was no longer a risk or harm to the city of New Orleans. Is that? I mean, that's, yeah.
Well,
go ahead.
well, we don't know really what the judge's actual thinking was. I mean, obviously, that is something personal at the judge, unless she speaks out and outlines what her thought process was. All we can do is speculate, and of course, speculation is sometimes dangerous to do. But I believe that what she probably looked at was certainly his history, him as a husband, as a family man, the fact that this is a first-time offense, that this is not an individual with a long line of criminal charges or arrests or run-ins with the law, and certainly, while it is serious, it's a crime for what Ray Nagin was charged with and convicted for. We're not talking about somebody who has committed crimes that on persons. In other words, we're not talking about murder or rape or anything like that. So, the judge takes all these things into consideration. The judges look at the guidelines, which they are exactly what they say they are. They're just guidelines. But to hopefully give judges some guidance as to what kind of sentence to impose. And the judge obviously looked at those guidelines and how she felt that Ray Nagin fell into that, and made her determination from there. So I have a lot of faith in Judge Berrigan. She's a good judge, a good lawyer before she became a judge. She is a good judge with a very good reputation on the bench. She had her reasons, and again, I'm going to say, who wants to spend 10 years behind bars? I don't think there's anybody in that line. So you're talking about a significant sentence and a long time, but the good news for Ray Nagin is that he can have a life after his prison term is over. I do believe there are going to be a lot of people who feel like Ray Nagin should spend the rest of his life in prison, or a significant portion of the rest of his life in prison. But I would simply say this: the crimes that were committed and found guilty by a jury of his peers, the crimes that were committed certainly are serious, and they deserve a punishment, and the judge imposed that punishment today. The real question is as expensive as it is to house prisoners, and do we want to send an individual to prison for 30 years or longer who has committed these kinds of economic crimes, as opposed to someone who is a major drug dealer or a murderer or rapist, or someone like that. Now, should that be part of the consideration? I don't know. Probably not. But we're crowding up our prisons with a lot of folks, many of whom belong there, and some of whom have made big mistakes in their lives. Ray Nagin certainly has made a major mistake in his life, and is going to pay for it. And again, 10 years, 20 years, a half an hour, none of that sounds good to me to have to spend time behind bars. I really, I don't think people have a real understanding of what it's like to be in a prison. And I think most people, if they knew what life was like in those prisons, they would understand that, 10 years is number one, it's a long time. And number two, it is a penalty. It is a penalty to pay for having committed crimes against the citizens of New Orleans.